And now they're actually TPing out. They get VP to return home.
But look at the observer wards that they've set up. VP have been hailed as one of the best in this patch because of their ability to set up great vision. But now that they've lost fights, they've lost map control, that are losing out in the farm battle, I don't really know if they can keep up their network of vision.
Well, they're trying to. This is the reason why Solo smokes. Puts down 2 observer wards in the bottom river area.
Yeah, it's probably time for the Batrider to get a gem. Maybe if they secure the Aegis first, it's still a little bit risky to fight around the pit. I think DK is pretty good in the pit, as well as the Darkseer especially.
It seems like a risk that they just don't need to take, but it looks like in July they're going to hover around it.
They still want to fight.
You have the double damage rune on the Luna, and this may just be enough to encourage them to go in.
Yeah, but VP certainly know what's up, and they certainly would not let this go for free.
No, they have to fight. Fresh item of the Desolator over on the Lifestealer, so you'll have that for this fight, but they send illusions down from the SD to have a look towards the pit with the Observer Ward and the Sentries down. They're right on top of each other. IGV, they're pulling out of the pit. So VP got the information that Roshan's down to 50%.
Yeah, there's not that many blind spots for IG Vitality, but that is one of them. The northwest of the Roshan pit. And they have to wait for them to walk into that Observer Ward. If they push mid T2, I wondered how IG Vitality are going to react. Might just be time for them to work on the Roshan, but without the DD, it's not going to drop that quickly.
They're going to find Med Smoke.
Yeah, he's at 50% HP, so now they're going to be scouting inside the pit with those Slaughter Illusions.
IGV's coming to fight. They're coming to fight. So it's just illusions. The body blocking of the illusions, it just pinged. It just pinged. Solo knew what was happening, so then they just jumped forward looking for the SD down to hunt up like the factory. Man, they hit the mark. July has to four-star himself away on low life. But the Luna and the Timber Sword will drop. Timber won't be down for long, thanks to Bloodstone charges. The Solo's positioning, noticing the illusions of having clear pathing, allowed VP just to set up properly, but they're going to go on for Roshan. He's down low with the amplification shot and causing some problems, but it's still Radiant. They get 1 the kill on Roshan, and 2 pick up the Aegis. As we have ourselves a small little pause. This is actually a huge time to pause, because that Flame Break's going to push a little onto the hill.
VP is just really smart about fighting, how they took that last engagement. If SD dies, not the worst thing in the world. It's not like he really has any items.
Oh, Lil gets down just in time, so the Flame Break doesn't push anybody around.
Yeah, and Luna just got blown up so quickly. And she might need a BKB herself to deal with the vacuum wall. Her illusion is going to hurt her team a lot if she gets vacuumed into it.
Which means more time that IGV have to stall up. So the fight was good, and with Roshan, they repair all the damage of gold as well as experience. So the game starts to level up more.
Yeah, the blink from Pasha really making the big difference in that last team fight. They need Timbersaw to be... He was out in front. He like got a decent amount of damage on a Shadow Demon, but then he backed up immediately after. They need him to provide the vision for the team fights. He needs to be the big bad bruiser in front. So, like, if you go on him, you're going to lose the fight. But if he retreats, then Luna's left vulnerable to these blink initiations from VP.
Which is why Luna, like, even if you do have a BKB, you may not get it off in time. Satanic may be the other way, just have the strength to survive, and then just, yep, that'll work. A VP, they're already prepping to fight once more. Looking down that mid lane. And they're bringing everybody. They don't have the best momentum in the side lanes. It's going the way of IGV on the top, even with a catapult behind it.
They have to be careful though. The Luna is still very, very strong. She has Butterfly. She's like way ahead in network at the moment. So it can't be too reckless with this siege. And Sakata's still, you know, very, very far back, just scared of immediately dying.
There goes the tier 2 tower.
Maybe once he gets his plate mail on that Timber, he can play more aggressively. But he's just very, very scared.
So that's the downside right about going for this Yule Scepter build. You can't just get that straight Shivas, but he can still PMS and he can pick up that plate mail now.
Yeah, he probably wants some way to get rid of the amplified damage. But as long as he doesn't die to the initial burst, he should be fine once he builds up some stacks. And Gem has been picked up by in July, and we'll take this time to get rid of some of the VP vision. They have 3 Observer Wards around the middle. Again, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get them all.
Kind of like a risky situation, right? You know the Slider could be there ready to blink on you. And they don't have vision of Lil at the moment. In fact, now with the Chakrams from Sakata, they will.
So that's 2 observer wards down. 2 more, a little bit away from the Roshan pit.
They didn't find the sentry. It's a little bit more covered up. Normally that wouldn't be as important, but the fact you're running a Treant Protector and they're trying to make the most out of that invis time. But
Yeah.
now he's going to see it with the Firefly.
I'm not sure if he saw the one that Lil is standing on top of right now.
They pinged it. Got just close enough for it. But it's, again, like, it's the wrong side of the river that IGV just cannot move to unless they go in force.
And Luna, looks like signs of a BKB are coming out. Ogre Club in the stash.
Alright, so she'll go for the immunity. Fantastic thing during the fight. Already got ways to get rid of the amplification. Now, there's no extra stuns. Won't fear that Dark Seer initiation as much either.
Even more than that, there's like the disruption on her, which her illusions do a lot of damage. You don't really want to give SD free damage, although I guess you can replicate a Manta illusion.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal, but the Breathe Fire also limits a lot of her damage because she has so much agility at the moment.
Timber's pushing in the mid, so VT. They will get to claim this tier 2 tower, IGV. There's no reason to slow this down. Like, may fortify so they can push in through the top lane and try and get a tier 2 tower of their own, but IGV are not committing to the push. They're moving back again, looking to farm, and looks like they just don't want to fight until Luna has that BKB.
Or while Lifesteal has the Aegis. Losing the gem right now would be very costly. It would set them back a good amount of time.
And they only have to wait 50 seconds, and then that Aegis is gone.
Yeah, Lifestealer does not have that much in his defense. He's going very heavy on the damage. Just really the armlet from the armor from the armlet to help him survive.
Like going Yasha as opposed to something else, like Basher, or maybe even more defensive for his team with the AC.
He might be going Manta. It's a common pickup on strength heroes to deal with the root from the Treant Protector. You don't want to have to use your Infest, and you can't wait for it to just die. He can be more self-sufficient, and you can't rely on the Shadow Demon this game because Shadow Demon is still very poor, but he is going for the Scepter. Great way to deal with the Luna in the late game. She might have to get a Hurricane Pike to not get kited in the fights later on.
Well, Aegis has now been reclaimed. It's a long Roshan spawn timer, so 2.5 out of 3 potential minutes that both these teams will have to wait. The BKB over on Luna. IGV is in a decent position to try and look for an engagement if they wish.
They need more on the supports of IG Vitality. The Treant Protector is just bare bones in his Arcane plus
They're literally,
support items.
literally the same items right now.
Yeah, Witch Doctor Scepter is also something that you probably want to aim for in the late game. Something how the Shadow Demon is that versus this many melee heroes, it would do a lot of damage.
And instead, they seem to be very much focusing on the Yule Scepter build. Yeah. Unless that's going to be...
He's going for a force.
It'll be a force stop, so it's just the movement speed with the lace.
Great at kiting at DK. I guess the Lotus would actually be pretty useful. I don't know who would farm it. I guess the Timber saw him, but he definitely needs the armor from the Shivas first before he can think about a Lotus. And Shadow Demon plays some wards in mid.
Well, the Luna is the only one close enough to it at the moment. The rest of IGV are being put into nature's guise.
And they don't actually have too much protection on the Radiant side either. They could easily get caught out by a Batrider guys. But I like the way they move. They're like constantly seeking to get better position. Like if IG Vitality come to them, IG Vitality are going to lose the team fight because they'll be able to either kite the Luna while she's BKB'd or pop her before her BKB is activated. And the only time that they've lost the big fight, but really the only fight that one of the only 2 fights that they've taken was on IG's terms up onto their secret shop. But now, a bit of a compromise round. They don't have though. This could be a maneuver for Batrider to firefall through the top side, which they're actually maybe kind of expecting with Lifesteal's positioning.
And here it comes in July, jumping around the back of Firefly Vision, sees Pash for the jump forward. He found the real DK. No one dragged in with the equip. No one's so long. This is BKB off the back wall. Space is being created now. Virtus.pro. The Eclipse still doing work, but will it be enough? The BKB Luna now wears off Ramsey. One more hit will do it. Burning looks for the body block. The force up. The crush from Lil won't do enough. But maybe with the elusive ping, Slaughter trapped inside the base. They're just chasing him in deeper. IGV down to just a few heroes, but it's VP who was sold into that tier 3 tower. Lil has managed to go on for a long wander straight past the fountain, past the tier 4 towers, and through the bottom of the base. He'll rejoin the rest of his teammates in a bit. The Virtus.pro making the most of the time they've got. Bring down the tier 3 tower, now into the melee racks as well. IGV, they just don't have the defense against it.
Wow, no one was so close to dying at the beginning of the fight, which would have been a completely different story. And again, they get a huge vacuum crush wall. Yeah, you have to admire VP's ability to team fight.
Also the patience, like we're seeing a very different game style. Fog was mentioning the fact that we've had a couple of CIS teams, Team Empire and VP are normally the ones which go high up on the list of struggling at the Valve major events, but Virtus.pro, they're showing their depth, not just in their draft, because this is obviously not depth in their draft with what they've got here, but in their play style. They're happy to go hyper aggressive. They can play the very stalled trade-off style of gameplay.
And they also have a lot of confidence plays. Like before that, it was pretty much zero net worth, which is very difficult to push into a T2 tower against a Bat Rider. And they were just confident that they'd be able to get the BKBs up and not die, and to pull off their teamfight combo. So now Darkseer is probably priority number 1, at least stopping his Blink Dagger so he doesn't get a great initiation.
That's rather difficult to do unless in July. Well, he could have actually not gone on no one. But at the same time, if that worked, you get no one with his BKB down. The Eclipse does solo effect damage onto a Dragon Knight, and they almost killed him with that alone. So maybe next time, like, yeah, this could actually work.
Yeah, it was really close to working. At the same time,
okay, maybe not anymore.
Shadow Demon, yeah, he has gone back for that.
Yeah, the Blink Dagger pickup over on the SD. Talked about the range at the very start of this game for SD, not the greatest instant counter to a Bat Rider.
They are smoked without the Timber Saw. Timber Saw does not have BOT. He's on the far top side of the map, so this could be potentially a good opportunity for IG by
VP is smoking out. Could look to go into Roshan, which they may think is alive, but it's another 40 seconds or ish until Roshan is up and running, and they'll find a traitor in that mid, aka the Dire Catapult, which accidentally solo attack, breaking his smoke. V, who currently, I almost want to say smoked, but they're just Aegis guys hanging around that tier 2 tower.
And they're pinging on the T3, and Paparazzi does not have a TP scroll. Maybe he can exchange with one of the supports, but this could take some damage. There is an Infest Bomb waiting perhaps to be exploded on.
They can't fight with their Luna. Luna's only just entering the base. VP didn't force the issue until now. No one will be the one man to the front lines. And once again, these TPs look for that Bat Rider initiation. No one's low inside the Shark drop. As Luna walks up the rest of the way. But all this chip damage doesn't mean that much if IG still get the living armor. So does Pro. Remember, they were still waiting for Roshan, and Roshan's alive, but because they didn't kill the catapult, IGV also have this information. And now the traitor will die.
They've finally seen the Lifestealer pop out, but this is not good position from them, and one Observer Ward, D Ward, they still have another one, but it doesn't catch sight of any of IG Vitality.
IG's looking back into Roshan. Now, Injuly didn't go just far enough to the side to see the Obs Ward. Now, with the flight, he will actually see the Obs Ward. So, VP are going to have a very dark map. 2 wards that are unable to go through full duration. In fact, if you look at the map at the moment, all they've got is their illusions. So this turns into 5-man Dota just because of this.
And who's going to get the jump on whom?
At this point, no one. IGV's backing out. And the base to start with and stay as close as you can to Roshan.
You can't leave that long though. Slaughter with the Amplify, with the Lifestealer, and no way to scout inside the pit.
With the Banter Illusions, and they have a Dire Observer Ward on the hillside. Yeah. Now, there's no flying vision in that area. So while no one does actually have a gem, yeah, another traitor. There's plenty more where that came from.
And I see no smokes in either team's inventory.
Now VP can wait. Look at top lane. IGV have to go back to defend this unless they want to lose tier 4 towers. The BTs really need to come on that Timbersaw, so he can be that. But instead, we got an in July BKB flying out in the courier at the moment. So the Bat Rider's got a little bit more.
There's still the siege creep inside. They see all 4 of these heroes, and Lifestealer just popped his raid. It could be a good time for them to fight.
Q is close enough that his overgrowth will also be effective from outside that pit.
They also need Sakata over here. He was pushing out the lanes, as you had mentioned.
They need BTs. They need something. Bottom lane's pushing in too far. The top lane continues to pressure, and VP will back out every single time there's no one from IGV defending the top lane.
They're very vigilant about constantly having something close to or inside the pit, in between the Manta Illusions and the HOD, knowing that any 10-second window could be VP's chance to take down that prized Roshan. But seeing how low it is, it could be very tempting for them to go inside themselves. And VP's also doing the same thing, constantly sending a barrage of illusions throughout the lanes and around the pit.
This time they're infested. VP still have not seen that observer ward up on the hillside. This is doing so much work for IGV. They know where VP is moving. They can reposition for it. So they send the Timbersaw into the start. The lifting up was already up. Tank force up out. Now back ready to spaces. He can win that last break free and does his damage to Q. Paparazzi can't attack fast enough. He'll go down and without the Luna. IGV must be in full retreat. Or will they? The Timbersaw isolated down. IGV, they've still got extra support with the Blink Crush from Lil. It keeps Fish Doctor out. Burning will get instantly evaporated. And in July, the last man left standing, but he will not stand for long as they surround him for the death parade. Team wipe in favor of Virtus.pro. Now they can take Roshan and maybe more.
Now they are just so darn tanky that they're definitely able to pop their BKBs in time. And now with Solo as backup with a Blink Dagger, there is very little chance of any of their strength heroes dying at the start. And Timbersaw, he's supposed to be the tankiest hero on the side of IG Vitality, but he almost got blown up in a matter of seconds. They had to blow so many cooldowns at the start. And Luna, she popped her Manta early, and she just got amped and focused down during her BKB. This doesn't even matter that Lifestealer does not have an MKB just yet. And also the Manta loses in the Lifestealer.
Like I said, I saw that he jumps in, the ulti out, DK low, but he can just toggle through. They lose another 2. Fighting before the Luna is back up and running. And this may be VP's ticket to actually gain Megas. And in fact, they just get the GG call.